and the director of the Texas Short Film Festival. We have an event coming up on October the 22nd. We are excited to screen all types of films here in San Antonio, Texas. Everything from documentaries to drama films to comedy to animation to just a variety of things that not only just from Texas, but from all over the world. And we're going to be screening those things in San Antonio. And one of the selections is a documentary film from Texas. Uncovering the Permian Climate Bomb is what we're going to cover today. And we have directors Miguel Escoto and Sharon Wilson. Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Thank you for joining us. This is a very compelling story. I want to get right into it. And please, Miguel, can you give us a synopsis of the film?
Sure. So this film is about being face to face with climate destruction. It follows the story of how myself, as a young person living in El Paso, Texas, learns about the Permian Climate Bomb. And so the Permian Basin is an oil and gas shale play in West Texas, southeast New Mexico, that accounts for this huge portion of greenhouse gas emissions and climate destruction. And so the story follows my first time visiting the oil fields with Sharon Wilson here, Earthworks senior field advocate and certified optical gas imaging thermographer. So we bring this camera, Sharon brings this camera, which has this incredible superpower. It's able to visualize otherwise invisible greenhouse gas emissions and other toxins. So it really is a story about seeing and visualizing the climate crisis. And throughout the film, I learned from Sharon, and the viewer learns from Sharon what this Permian Climate Bomb means for my hometown of El Paso, which is a few hours away, as well as other regions in Texas, like throughout the Gulf Coast, as well as the world. So as the title suggests, we're uncovering this thing that has been not too much within the public consciousness as it should be, the Permian Climate Bomb.
Wow. Well, Sharon, what excited you to get you involved in this film? What is it about this that said, you know what, I'm inspired to do this film because what?
Because I make the invisible visible. And I do that using an optical gas imaging camera. And see, oil and gas pollution is invisible. You can't see it. It mostly consists of methane, a very powerful greenhouse gas that is over 80 times more powerful than CO2 or carbon dioxide in warming our planet. So methane is the low-hanging fruit in the climate emergency, and we need the public to understand that so that they can take action to get this methane pollution stopped. When people see through the camera that I use, when they go out in the field with me and they see through the camera, they have a very emotional response to that. And I wanted to get on film a young person looking through the camera for the first time, and as they watch their future disappear as these greenhouse gases appear.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And you, Miguel, you decided to say, hey, let's make this a movie. Like, why?
Well, there is so much power in visualizing, right? The climate crisis is not an easy, at times it's not an easy thing to understand. It's a lot of discussions about methane and greenhouse gases. But when you see through the camera, it's simple. There are plumes of emissions. There are plumes of climate destruction being blasted out of the oil fields. And that's a problem. It's that simple. And there's so much power in actually visualizing it, right? And I mean, I had an emotional experience just seeing the recordings. Earthworks has a well-documented repository of many different oil and gas sites throughout the country blasting with methane emissions, right? And so When I first was a part of Earthworks, I just had this incredible, like, overpowering sentiment to want to share with the world what I was seeing, because it felt like I was seeing like government secret documents, how this is something that the oil and gas industry doesn't want us to know, because it really simplifies the issue and makes it very visceral and easy to understand. And so, yeah, part of what inspired me to plan this with Sharon
Mhm.
was the emotion, the drive to want to share with others.
Staying with you, Miguel, on this one, what did you learn from this production? I mean, you covered that a little bit, and that the images were stunning, and once you got to the edit, is there anything else that you learned in just making this film?
Yeah, well, I think there is so much power in movie magic, right? I've read like dozens of reports and articles outlining the issue of how there's methane emissions blasting out of the oil fields for the production of oil and gas. I've read about how the Permian Basin is producing 5 million barrels of oil per day, and it's only poised to increase. And so it's one thing to read it, right? It's one thing to see it in an article, but it is an entirely different experience to actually have film, right? The art of audio visuals express that to you. It feels like someone is actively opening your eyes, right?
Mm.
And that's something that I learned. I was surprised, just by the incredible editors that we had, Edison and Carrie, as well as the score that Sharon's son Adam was able to compose for us. It was just a very powerful thing for me
Mm.
to experience, like this subject matter that I've spent hours and hours on being thrusted upon me, right, by the power of film. And that's something I learned. Like, it's a really important and impactful experience. So even if someone has, if you think, oh, I know all about the climate crisis, I don't really need another documentary to um, make me sad. Well, this is a different thing. This is a an audiovisual experience where we're able to see
Mm.
like all of the flares, all of the
Mhm.
pump jacks, the West Texas landscape being um, destroyed by this industry. It's a powerful experience, and that's something that I learned throughout this way, working with Sharon and the editors, and it was powerful.
What about you, Sharon? Anything just new? Anything just come out of this thing that you learned?
I didn't really learn anything new about the oil and gas industry because I've been doing this a while, but I did learn a lot about making a short film. Just a 12-minute film is very hard. It's so much harder than you think it's going to be. It takes an enormous amount of cat herding and
Mm.
facts, being absolutely 100% rock solid facts. It's very hard. So we appreciated Tony Ingraffia, Cornell professor, for making sure that our facts are rock solid in the film.
Mm. Mm. Excellent. So, what do you have planned for the future? Is there any future production or part two or follow up to this particular film, Miguel?
Yes, so this project that started from this drive of wanting to bring people to the oil fields, it's not ending here with this film. We
Mm.
also launched our YouTube channel recently called Texas Methane Hunters. Should be one of the first things that pop up there if you search it on YouTube,
Mhm.
um, where we have shorter, more informal vlogs of what we're seeing in the oil fields. And in the film, we're very proud to have created this very polished and I think artistic piece. But here in the YouTube channel that we've launched, it's a lot more like DIY, like guerrilla media, us um, vlogging what we're seeing, So it's a lot more. It's more content, more of what you were seeing with the film, and we go more in depth about certain things. The another thing that we're doing is Earthworks will shortly release a podcast mini series called "Murdering Our Stars," and it's going to be a mini series about this same subject, but a lot more in depth. We interview ranch owners that have been affected by zombie wells that are spewing with waste. We talk about directly impacted community members, and I interview Sharon about what it was like for her to experience fracking when it knocked on her doorstep. So yeah, the YouTube channel and the podcast series, if folks would like to check that out as well.
All right, we'll make sure to link that to the description here. What are you working on in the future, Sharon?
Well, we did not start out with this to make a short film. It was initially just going to be a YouTube video. And look where we are now. So we are actually going to make another short film. And this one is going to be a mockumentary about the oil and gas industry and just the absurdity of the whole industry and the propaganda that they spew all over us and the regulatory system and our government failure. And so we're looking really forward to that because climate change is a very serious issue, but the absurdity of it all is really pretty hilarious.
Wow, very powerful. Well, there's a lot you can teach through comedy. Can be an excellent experience. So best of luck on that project. And well, is there anything else you wanted to add before we go, Miguel?
Well, I'd like to really thank the judges for seeing this film for what it is and for choosing it, for selecting it. We really did try really hard, months and months of work, a lot more than what was expected originally. So yeah, I'd like to thank the judges and everyone at the festival for showcasing this.
Thank you, Sharon. Anything else you want to add?
The oil and gas industry has unlimited money to spend on propaganda for the public. So we are very grateful for this opportunity to get to show the truth and expose that the pathway to solving the climate crisis is through stopping this methane.
All right. Well, thank you both for your time, and thank you for sharing your film with us. We're looking forward to the screening. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a good one.